Yo, what it do? I have to officially be done with the black BLM conservatives on YouTube. The YouTube BLM conservatives. They're all about genetic degeneracy. We're going to talk about IQ and genetics. We're gonna talk about some wild stuff, right? We're gonna talk about we're gonna look over a whole lot of stuff. I'm not gonna be here too long, but I'm gonna give you a whole lot of information real quick. YouTube BLM conservatives. Yeah, they the same thing as BLM, right? So BLM was founded by, I guess, two or three lesbian women that believed anything the Democratic Party said to gain financial wealth. Well, the BLM, what up, Cynical One? What up, Cynical One? How you doing, sweetheart? Like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe this. But the BLM conservatives believe anything a white man says to gain financial grounding. What's the difference, right? What's the difference in lesbians taking money from the Democratic Party to do whatever they wanted them to do? What's the difference, right? What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference in, you know, taking money from the Democratic Party and taking money from the Republican Party to say what they want you to say? Because you all are sucking up the white men. Mm-hmm. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. Right? So so what y'all doing is y'all let me tell you, what y'all doing is low IQ behavior. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what y'all doing. Yeah, what y'all doing is low IQ behavior. What y'all doing is low IQ behavior, right? So let me show you, right? So this is what's going on in this country, right? Y'all are out here. Yeah, this is what why this is what white America is doing. This is what white America see. This is what white America is doing, but y'all want to give them. Y'all want to give them high regards, like they doing something. Hold on, let me show you something. Right, let me show you something. Right, this is what white people are doing. Right, politically.
Mr. Dilly, I started your time.
That nigga think he Chris Brown, but he think he Chris Brown daddy. And he had a city council. This is what the conservatives and genetic degeneracy allow.
How was everyone's weekend? Good. Anyone go anywhere fun? I got back. I went to Mexico, but not. I just went to visit some family in Monterrey. There's no beach there, so it's a beautiful town. There's a lot of history, and it's like really nice. And anyone here afraid of flying? Anyone? I got. Well, I guess the did you know I can do the backspin? Anybody? You want to see me do the backspin? No? You want to do? You want the back? I'm gonna do the backspin. Can I do it up here? I'm gonna do that. Well, why did our taxes go up so much? We were told the referendum was going to bring it up for an average household about $400 a bank, and mine went up like $900. And I think we were told like that was from the schools or something, but the school referendum said it would only go up, like I said, $400 on an average assessed home. So wanted to know why it went up, if it did, much more than that, and what extra expenses were incurred by the schools that weren't told to the public.
So this white man done popped his collar. He done popped his collar, right? Done popped his collar, and he out here break dancing. Right? Hold on. Right? He done popped. He done popped his collar. He done popped his collar. He out here break dancing. He out here break dancing. That's what he doing. He break dancing, right? He break dancing. This is high IQ behavior. Right? This is high IQ behavior. right? This is what the conservatives say need to be leading America. Old white men that are break dancing at town halls, right? This is what I'm talking about, the genetic degeneracy and the BLM behavior of the black conservatives on YouTube. And it ain't just hood conservative. I watched that I watched that exchange between imperialist, Taz, um, Knightish, and I watched that interchange, and I was like, y'all are some BLM conservatives. Y'all cannot get mad at those black lesbian women that took hundreds of thousands. Hold on. Those black lesbian women took millions of dollars. You black conservatives on YouTube barely getting cash apps. This is crazy to me. How are black BLM conservatives on YouTube getting paid pennies to the dollar while lesbian BLM Democratic women got paid millions? Boy, don't let the studs outdo you. Don't let the studs outdo you, boy. The conservatives, the black YouTube conservatives ain't making no money. Conservatism is break dancing at town hall, trying to get respect. They crumping like they at a BLM meeting. And let's not talk about the fact that the conservatives don't want to talk about their engagement with these children, right? Hold on. Why come the conservatives love to call out? The conservatives love the conservatives or the BLM conservatives love to call out the left for having transgenders reading to the children. I agree, that's evil. It shouldn't happen. Protect the children. And then they also argue about all this LGBTQ in the schools, and I agree it should not be there. But I would argue that they wanted to turn Tim Tebow into the first Charlie Kirk. I think that they would. I think that they wanted Tim Tebow to be with Erica Kirk. I think they wanted her to be Erica Tebow, but it didn't work out. Watch this, right? Because Tim Tebow said something about the conservative dads that they weren't trying to hear. The number one offender type is biological fathers, but by far it is being done by middle-aged Caucasian men. Many, over half of them, college graduates. Many of them are educated, good jobs. This isn't just who we're thinking about. Like they're technical savvy, and I think that it is time that we call them out, like that. We can't stand by and stand back. Like we have to stand up and say, not only are we not doing our job as men, it's actually the opposite. Instead of being defenders and protectors of our families, we're hurting and abusing. The number one offender type is biological fathers, but by far
It is being done by middle-aged Caucasian men. Over half of them college graduates. Many of them are educated, good jobs. This isn't just who we're thinking about. Like they're technical savvy, and I think that it is time that we call them out, like that. We can't stand by and stand back. Like we have to stand up and say, not only are we not doing our job as men, it's actually the opposite. Instead of being defenders and protectors of our families, we're hurting and abusing the number.
But see, y'all don't want to have that conversation, right? The conservatives don't want to have the conversation that the majority of sex offenders against children are middle-aged white men with good jobs. A lot of them are conservatives. So y'all would rather see this is the thing about it, right? See, the BLM lesbian women, yeah, they did take money for being lesbians and making money off George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter. But the Republicans, the black conservatives, y'all made money off George Floyd and Black Lives Matter. Y'all act like y'all wasn't making money off Black Lives Matter, just like just like those transgender women, just like those not transgender, but those lesbian women. Just like those lesbian women were making money off BLM and George Floyd. So was y'all making money off George Floyd and BLM, talking about George Floyd died from a drug overdose, not the fact that he was suffocated and asphyxiated, right? But the thing about it is, BLM conservatives won't talk about the fact that it's a bunch of middle-aged Donald Trump white men being caught with these children. Y'all will turn y'all blind out of that on some Nambla, on some PETA, PDF file stuff. And that's where I have to look at the black conservatives on YouTube and be like, y'all sideways. Because y'all not gonna say nothing about this.
This Saigon Airport Hotel, and I think this is one of the most amazing hotels I've ever stayed at, even though it's a 3-star hotel. And you know why? It's right behind me, as you see right now. There's a plane landing. It's because we're directly looking into the airport, and we can see the runways, the airport itself, the watchtower, and we can see planes coming in and landing, and then planes going onto the tarmac and going and taxiing and then taking off. I lay on my bench and I watch planes coming down, planes coming down, planes going up. What do you think? I think it's cool. Let's take a closer look. Hey, now we're looking at the airplane. What is he doing? It's amazing. It's the Ibis Saigon Airport Hotel, 3-star, but get the 12th floor. Get something that looks a room that looks directly out to the airport, and you'll be amazed. You can watch planes take off and on all day. And if you like the pool is even better on the T floor, which you can swim and watch the same thing. Planes taking off, planes landing. What do you think, Val? Well, you talked a lot about it, so I don't know what to talk about.
Now y'all got to explain this, conservatives. Y'all don't think Buddy in the button-up white shirt with the Ferragamo's pants and all, you don't think that this was a middle-aged white Republican man and out there so comfortable with a underage girl in his hotel room talking about planes landing and planes flying and landing and taking off, right? But see, this is what the BLM conservatives are not going to talk about. They are so conservative that they're not going to talk about the fact that exploitation of children, exploitation of society is not just done by the left, it's done by both sides of this political party that we call ourselves voting for and voting against. The conservatives don't want to talk about that, right? So let's go back to it, right? Tim Tebow, let's go back to Tim Tebow, right? Tim Tebow told you who was attacking these children, right? The number one offender type is biological fathers, but by far it is being done by middle-aged Caucasian men. Many, over half of them, college graduates. Many of them are educated, good jobs. This isn't just who we're thinking about. Like they're technical savvy, and I think that it is time that we call. Mm. You don't think that wasn't that a middle-aged man? Wasn't that a middle-aged man that had that little girl in a hotel room with a probably a good job talking about airplanes and shit? And they feel so comfortable. They feel so comfortable with it. They feel so comfortable with their abuse of children and the legalization of them abusing children that they vote for them, and Trump get to run these beauty pageants and have these abused little girls grow up to be grown women that they pair with young men that they further abuse, aka Charlie Kirk. See, you don't think this young Asian girl that this old white man is abusing is going to grow up one day and take advantage of a man? Let's look at it again. Airport hotel, and I think this is one of the most amazing hotels I've ever stayed at, even though it's a 3-star hotel. And you know why? It's right behind me. As you see right now, there's a plane landing. It's because we're directly looking into the airport, and we can see the runways, the airport itself, the watchtower, and we can see planes coming in and landing, and then planes going onto the tarmac and going and taxiing and then taking off. I lay on my bench and I watch planes coming down, planes coming down, planes coming up. What do you think? I think it's cool. Let's take a closer look. Hey, now we're looking at the airplane. What is he doing? It's amazing. It's the IBOS Atlas Saigon Airport Hotel, 3-star, but get the 12th floor, get something that looks, a room that looks directly out to the airport, and you'll be amazed. You can watch planes take off and on all day. And if you like the pool, it's amazing. It's the IBOS Atlas Saigon Airport Hotel, 3-star, but get the 12th floor, get something that looks, a room that looks directly out to the airport, and you'll be amazed. You can watch planes take off and on all day. And if you like the pool is even better on the T floor, which you can swim and watch the same thing. Planes taking off, planes landing. What do you think, Val? Well, you talked a lot about it, so I don't know what to talk about. Mm-hmm. 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 See, this is the stuff that y'all not going to talk about with the conservatives, with the BLM conservatives. They're not going to talk about the genetic degeneracy, right? And IQ. They always want to argue about IQ. IQ and genetics It's tied to this guy named Francis Galton. He believed in physical and sensory um tactics, right? So the more physical, the better, the quicker your physical tendencies were, or the more sensories you had, the smarter you were, right? And Francis Galton received that information from his half cousin Charles Darwin, which believed in evolution, which later bred into eugenics and racehorse genetics theory, right? He wrote a book in 1869 called Hereditary Geniuses, right? This is some of the things that they were working on, and some of the things that they failed. And they believed that if you had a ability to physically react faster, you were smarter. Well, that failed against them because black people end up ended up physically responding faster. They didn't take into environmental issues. They didn't take into a lot of issues. This is why Francis Galton and his genetic IQ theologically theory failed. Right. Another thing that Republicans don't want to talk about is the people that they put in office. Down here in Texas, they put a Republican named Ken Paxton into office. Now, let me show you what Ken Paxton has been doing. Ken Paxton is two-faced, right? We down here with diabolical people in order. We got Hot Wheels, Greg Abbott down here destroying stuff. And we also got Two-Face Ken Paxton, our Attorney General, down here acting like a real pale pookie, a real genetic degenerate person. This is Ken Paxton, Two Face.
Here's the truth about Ken Paxton. While he dragged his family through the rubble of his first affair, he was already chasing another, this time sneaking off to meet a married woman, a mother of seven. Did Crook
Ken Paxton was cheating on his wife and family with a woman that has 7 kids. The Republicans don't cover, the BLM conservatives don't cover this shit.
Here's the truth about Ken Paxton. While he dragged his family through the rubble of his first affair, he was already chasing another, this time sneaking off to meet a married woman, a mother of seven. Did Crooked Ken use taxpayer resources to hide this affair too? Taxpayers deserve to know if we paid for Ken Paxton's cover-ups. Christian leaders are saying enough. Texas Values Action withdrew support, saying, "There's no question that adultery is an attack on marriage." And longtime allies admit this latest scandal is a bridge too far. When the scandal broke, Ken's wife filed for divorce on biblical grounds. Because this wasn't one mistake, it's who Ken Paxton is: serial cheater, serial liar, serial disgrace. Ken Paxton doesn't just betray his vows, he betrayed Texas. Here's the truth about Ken Paxton. While he dragged his family through the rubble of his first affair, he was already chasing another.
But people don't want to talk about that though. But people don't want to talk about the fact that that's what Ken Paxton was doing. No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about the fact that that's what Ken Paxton was doing. They don't want to talk about it, right? And the last thing I want to get to before I get up out of here is
Charlie had a plan moving. Crooked can use taxpayer resources to hide this affair too. Taxpayers deserve past 2030.
last thing I want to get to is this.
100%. Where we were going. 100%. And similar with Turning Point USA, Charlie had 100%. Told us where we were going. 100%. And similar with Turning Point USA, Charlie had a plan moving past 2030 that he's shared with
2030.
Implemented. So we're not going anywhere. We have the blueprints. We have the blueprints. We have our marching orders, and going is the things Charlie himself 100%. Told us where we were going. 100%. And similar with Turning Point USA, Charlie had 100%. Told us where we were going. 100%. And similar with Turning Point USA, Charlie had a plan moving past 2030 that he's shared with the team and has implemented. So we're not going anywhere. We have the blueprints. We have the blueprints. We have our marching orders, and we are just remaining humble and grateful to God. And we're going is the things Charlie to know if we paid for Ken Paxton's.
It's over. It's over. It's over. Y'all not bringing up Ken Paxton. Y'all not bringing up Charlie Kirk's wife. Y'all not bringing up Romania. All y'all want to do is say the left is promoting all of these furries and transgender children, where y'all got the same stuff going on in y'all own party in the black coon. BLM conservatives will not cover that. Hood, I need you to do better about your so-called party. I see some of the conservative ways and I see some of the democratic ways. I play independent. I don't need any of these political parties. But BLM conservatives on YouTube need that party to make money. That's Anton Daniels, that's Angry Man, that's Hood Conservative, that's not necessarily ABL, but ABL kind of gets thrown in there. The Hodge twins, the Carter family, all y'all niggas don't never cover real news or really what's going on. Y'all aren't even talking about the stuff that Republican officials are doing in y'all own damn state. Like Ken Paxton has been burning. Ken Paxton was burning dumpsters full of information. Right? Ken Paxton is a dumpster burner. But see, y'all don't talk about that kind of stuff because y'all y'all don't cover y'all don't cover real news, right? Y'all don't cover real news. Y'all don't even cover what's really going on with the conservative party. Y'all are see, look at this, right? Y'all don't cover it. I do. I cover it.
We do have some breaking news this afternoon. The Texas Attorney General's office says a suspect has been arrested for setting a dumpster fire behind their office. Video from the AG's office shows their dumpster that caught fire. The Austin Fire Department was called to put it out around 6:30 last night, following the hearing at the state capitol regarding possible criminal conduct by Paxton. The arson suspect was arrested by Texas DPS. A 42-year-old female was charged with criminal mischief.
So Ken Paxton, right? Nah, I ain't going no. Nope, not going no bed. Nope, nope, no. Ken Paxton's a needle in the haystack of the Democratic corruption in major cities. No, Ken Paxton is with y'all. Ken Paxton is with y'all. He with y'all. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, Ken Paxton is part of the Republican Party. No, let's not do that. Ken Paxton, Ken Paxton, Republican Party, right? His wife had to come and get him. The House voted Thursday to censure Democrat and Republican Bowman of New York for falsely pulling a fire alarm. Man, but don't nobody give a damn about no fire alarm. We talking about what these real conservatives are out here doing, right? And y'all won't cover this stuff because y'all are, damn it, BLM conservatives. Now I won't be so much of a conservative that I completely look over the fact that Ken Paxton, Greg Abbott, Glenn Beck. I won't turn a blind eye to the murderous behaviors of the Republican Party, but y'all will. Y'all will turn a blind eye to the fact that Ronald Reagan had a rainbow coalition in his political party. Ronald Reagan, Republican Ronald Reagan, hired more Fruit Loops than Obama did, even with making the whole White House the rainbow color. But see, I don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about it. And that's what's wrong with the BLM conservatives on YouTube. Black conservatives are not the GOP Republicans, nor do they campaign for them. You act like conservatives and the establishment are synonymous. It is synonymous. It is. It is synonymous. Y'all are one and one because y'all push their policies, push their behaviors, push their ideologies, but y'all will not bring up the mishaps of that party. All y'all want to do is talk about democratic terrorism. All y'all want to talk about is low IQ. But all I want to talk about is you have low IQ because of your genetics, right? But y'all won't even talk about where y'all even get that from. And y'all get that from Francis Galton, and it's a failed scientific theory. Just like his cousin, half cousin, Charles Darwin had a failed theory. Evolution is a failed theory. Genetics and IQ are a failed theory. Republicans on YouTube, the Gorpers, the Charlie Kirks, the black BLM conservatives are pushing a false narrative of IQ and genetics. They're pushing a false narrative of genetic degenerative people when they have the most genetic degenerative people. They have cheaters and liars, just like any. They have cheaters and liars and manipulators, just like anyone else. But they want to tell you that they're the party of morality. What is the IQ of Ghana? What is the IQ of Ghana? I don't know the IQ of Ghana. I don't have a mean average of the IQ of Ghana. Now, of course, they will tell you that they have a sub-Saharan. They will tell you they have a sub-Saharan IQ. Okay, they have a sub-Saharan IQ, but they still become doctors and engineers, or they still can perform any job that any American can. Do I think they're better than Americans? No. Do I think they're smarter than Americans? No. But do I think that we're inherently genetically better than them? No. I think the one thing about genetics is you don't want to take into environments. and exposure. And this is not necessarily a race thing, it's just a necessarily a thing of what people are given to work from. If you give someone nothing but rocks and dirt and nothing to work from, then they probably won't have anything to build with. If you give someone a whole lot more resources, then they will have something to build with. So what I'm saying is this whole genetic prowess that white people claim to have isn't true. This isn't true. It's not a 58. A 58 is extremely low. Let me tell you something. Why come um white SA see y'all white SAT and white ACT scores have failed dramatically. White people used to score in the 110s to 120 range. Now they're scoring like 95 to 100. So genetically, this can't be true. How are white people genetic score? How are white people SAT and ACT scores falling tremendously among the men and the women? Now the white women have maintained their SAT and ACT and GPA scores higher than the white males, but even the white females have failed somewhat. So therefore, white people in this genetic IQ is a lie, because if it was true, their children would have sustainable or higher GPAs or SATs or ACTs, and they don't. White people as a whole are have a lowered SAT, ACT, GPA, GRE scores. Their scores are going down, dog. Their scores are going down, unfortunately. And the world has scores that are going up. Black people, FBA, our GRE, our SAT, our ACT, our GPAs are going up, while white people's scores are going down. And the black BLM conservatives will not talk about this stuff. They won't talk about it. And I'm about to get up out of here, but before I get up out of here, I'm gonna drop this link though. I'm gonna drop this link for a little bit just to allow a rebuttal. Just to allow a rebuttal. I will drop this link real quick. But because Francis Galton was wrong, Charles Darwin was wrong, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton is wrong. White people are failing this country politically. They're failing it for its education. They're failing it for as their marriages and their marriage rates, right? Because chapter 8 of the bell curve talks about how family matters, right? Right. And marriage does matter, but because white people are not getting married, the white women have a low marriage IQ. They have a low paternal or low maternal IQ. They're not trying to build these nuclear families or extended families that these white men can't actually afford, even though they want to overwhelmingly tell us about black degeneracy. They don't their social economic background is not strong. Their role in education is not lasting. We have so many Indian and African professors. Matter of fact, in Iowa today, they deported an African superintendent of a school district in Iowa, their largest one. They deported him. But why would those highly intelligent, high IQ Iowan people even need him? The divorce rate in America is so high that it's making the children dumb. That's what the white people are saying. They're saying that their white women are divorcing them so fast that their children's IQ is dropping. Blaming on everything except the fact that Y'all are not making genetically sound children. Illegitimacy. They say that the white IQ, or the so-called conservative white American IQ is dropping so fast because white women are having more illegitimate children than legitimate children. But this is an argument they make about black women, that black women are having all these illegitimate welfare babies, and white women are having all these legitimate, insured, loving, kind babies. And we're seeing that the numbers are not matching up. The SAT scores are not matching up. The ACT scores are not matching up. The per capita household net worth is not matching up. We're seeing a lot of escapism and this false capital feudalism. We've seen a lot of escapism. Like, let's go to HBCUs and argue with HBCUs. Let's go argue with black people. Let's blame black people. We've seen a lot of escapism. At the same time, we're also seeing this feudalistic capitalism where they're trying to say that they out earn everybody, but they can't outgrow everybody. The role of broken homes. We have already noted that family structure at the age of 14 had only modest influence on the chances of getting divorced. Simple. After controlling for IQ a parental SES, whatever that means, now the question is how the same characteristics affect illegitimacy. Let us consider a white woman on average of average intelligence. Let's consider a white woman of average intelligence and average social economic background. The odds that her child would be born out of wedlock were 10% if she were living with both biological parents. So, white conservatives love to tell you about the marriage rate and how back in the days the black family was together and they had a nuclear family and they had a good marriage rate. Okay, that's good to talk. I mean, okay, that's a talking point for 13% of the country. But what about when you talk about at this time white people were at least 80% of this country's population? And at one point, white people only had a 10% divorce rate and had two biological parents. This is before the Brady Bunch, the Saved by the Bell. This is before those days. 18% if she was living with a biological parent and a step parent. So white people even understood back then that step parents led your child to allow divorce and someone else to, I guess, now try to be a guardian or parent of a child that they didn't birth. This came out of white culture. At one point, it was only 18%. At now, I say about 45 to 50% of white children have a step parent. I say 50 to I say probably even higher than that. Probably 50 to 60% of white kids now have a step parent. 25% if she was living with her mother with or without a live-in boyfriend. So single white mothers have been pushing divorce at a 25% rate since the 80s. Imagine where it's at in 2025. But these are numbers that the BLM conservatives don't want to talk about, right? And let's keep talking about this, right? The difference between coming from a traditional family versus anything else was large. With the step family about halfway between the traditional family and the mother only family. The mother only family. They see White people understood back then that having a mother only family or matriarchy didn't really help their families. But yet they didn't continue to talk about that. They continued to talk about black people and their matriarchy. As we explained, the role of the mother structure with different breakdowns. It seemed that girls who were still living with their biological father at 14 were protected from having their first boyfriend or first baby out of wedlock. The girls who had been living with neither biological parent were also protected, right? So it don't even matter who the parent is as long as they had a father. The worst outcome seemed conspicuously associated with situations in which the 14-year-old girl had been living with the biological mother but not the biological father. Here is such breakdown. The odds that a white woman's first baby would be born out of wedlock again were 8% if it was the biological father, 14% if he was absent. 8% if both biological parents were there at the age of 14. 10% if the biological parents were present at the age of 14. And 23% if it was just 23 to 25% if it was just the biological mother. What the things that they project on to black people is something that the white community and conservatives, Democrats and conservatives, no matter what your political party, was going through for a long time. But the conservatives mainly make it a black issue when this is an American issue. There is considerable food for thought here, but we refrain from speculation. The main point for our purpose is that family structure is clearly important and the cause of illegitimacy is in the next generation. Did cognitive abilities still continue to play an independent role? Yes. For all the dependent family configurations that we explained. Indeed, the independent effort of IQ was sometimes augmented by family structure into account. So having a good family, see, this is where Francis Galton messed it up. Francis Galton thought that just because you had good genetics, you would be smart. That's not enough, Francis Galton. You actually needed good family structure. You needed good family structure. But you needed good family structure. And that's one thing that the Republican Party has not been truly pushing or truly manifesting or truly acting out in American society. Hood assertive, you got to speak for what your people have been doing. Y'all have a blessed day.